It is Monday and we are doing a reading vlog this week. I have been working through reading all of Riley Sager's books. I've been really enjoying this. Started working on Home Before Dark, also by Riley Sager. This week I am also going to try and work on So You've Been Publicly Shamed. I can't remember the name of the author, but this is my nonfiction book for the month as well as my book club's read. And I need to officially get through that because we have to have it read by next Wednesday. I also am determined to officially finish out The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. I've been really liking this book. It's very cute, but I kind of had to put it on pause for my Riley Sager book video, as well as I just was hitting the point in the audiobook where even though they weren't incredibly explicit, there were a good many sex scenes, and I can't listen to an audiobook of that. It makes me uncomfortable. It's weird. Even though they're not explicit, it's just like, it's too weird. So I switched over to ebook, and I've just not been prioritizing that as much, but I am determined to finish it by the end of September because I'm already like halfway through. That is it for now. I will update you guys later if I read anything else. Video I'm going to be read all So this idea came to me because Riley Sager has been an incredibly named massacres or other bad thing. Many rich wealthy. Good job. So it is Wednesday. I'm sorry I forgot to update yesterday. I just kind of got busy. My boyfriend ended up coming over for dinner, and rather than read, I sort of just lazed around with him and watched some TV. However, I did finish Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, and I really enjoyed this. This, again, was super reminiscent of like Amityville Horror meets the adaptation of A Haunting of Hill House. I think it was a good mix of those, but like with a nice mystery thriller thrown in and not just supernatural stuff. It had some great twists and it definitely just like got my heart racing. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, go watch my Riley Sager video because I will definitely dive in deeper in that. I've started on to Final Girls, which is the last Riley Sager book I have to go, and I'm excited for this one because I love the whole horror movie trope of the final girl. I always am just like, yes, you do it, especially when they're just done taking everybody's BS and like starting to officially fight for their life. I love when they finally take that power into their hands, and I'm hoping we're gonna see some of that in this book. I've also read a little bit farther into The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory, and I'm liking this. It's pretty cute. So this story is following Alexa, who is a mayor's assistant or something along those lines. She works in the mayor's office, and she's very dedicated to her job. She meets this cute doctor named Drew in the elevator of a hotel, and the elevator shuts down. They end up kind of hitting it off, and Drew reveals that he's going to a wedding between his ex-girlfriend and one of his ex-best friends. He doesn't have a date and he knows it's going to be really awkward, so he ends up asking Alexa if she will be his date. They kind of then end up doing a fake relationship and telling everyone that she's his girlfriend, but they have a really great time and they sort of actually do start to develop a relationship. I really liked how this book started off, but once we hit the point where they were more of an actual couple, it seemed to become very repetitive. Anytime Alexa and his name is Drew. Anytime Alexa and Drew get together, they definitely end up having sex. Although the scenes aren't incredibly explicit, they are just suggestive enough, and that happens every single time. I don't mind smut in a romance, but I would much prefer seeing their relationship develop and them learning about each other and things like that. The two of them actually live on opposite sides of the state in California, so they do kind of have a long distance relationship going. And as someone who was in a long distance relationship, I thought it would be a lot more interesting if we were seeing them get to know each other via like text messages, or maybe like the email format that was in Red, White, and Royal Blue, or even like just having long conversations on FaceTime. But anytime it really discusses their texting, it's like, oh, they had some dirty texts, oh, they cracked some jokes. Occasionally, like, they might ask how their day's going. Along with that, because the two of them haven't had an actual conversation about what their relationship is, there's a bunch of angst going on because of it, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. These are both professionals in their 30s. Like, just have a grown-up conversation and discuss what you want this to be. However, I do believe this was, if not Jasmine Guillory's first book, one of her earlier works, and I know she has more romance stories set in the same universe, so I'm intrigued to try and read some of those and see if her writing of the relationship's development gets better. I'm more than halfway through, so I'm definitely gonna finish this, and I do enjoy it. I think whenever we get to see the like domestic fluffy moments, they're super cute, and I wish we had more of those. Tonight is movie night with my BFFs, and we are going to be watching the third How to Train Your Dragon movie, so I am ready for that emotional roller coaster.
Hello friends, it is Thursday. I have once again failed at updating. Apparently, this vlog this week is just... it's not going. It's gonna be a lot of B-roll. Hope you're okay with that. I finished out the last of Riley Sager's books today, and I actually also just finished filming that. But I also finished The Wedding Date, and this was a frustrating romance read because I liked the couple, I liked the fluffy moments, I got tired of all the sex, and the actual conflict that was happening was so frustrating because it was just due to communication. But they would talk. Like, when it all finally boiled over, they did kind of talk, but it was like one-sided. The other person wouldn't really voice what they were trying to say, and even then what they were talking about was very much like half a conversation, and they weren't fully expressing everything they needed to, so it was just even more frustrating. Sorry, no, shush, Alexa, shush. Thank you. I did really like the ending. That was pretty cute, and I do believe that we get to see some more of these two in some of Jasmine Guillory's other books. I know for a fact we see some more of them in The Wedding Party, because I believe that one is focusing on both of Alexa's best friends. I'm excited for that one because it's supposed to be a hate-to-love relationship, so I'm definitely going to try that one out. Anyway, it is Thursday, and that means I am going over to my brother's for dinner. We are almost finished with Clone Wars. It's 7 seasons, so we've been like trucking through that for a while. But I'm very excited to officially finish it out because it's been so good. Like, if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't watched the TV shows, like, do yourself a favor and do it. Just do it. It's good. So I am about to go over to Josh's for the night, but I haven't updated, so I thought I would share what's been going on while I finish getting ready. So I have started on both So You've Been Publicly Shamed as well as The Wedding Party, actually. This is actually the third book in Jasmine Guillory's romance series. I guess it's a series. They're more like companion novels. I was planning to go through and just read as many of them as I really wanted. I don't know, the second one just didn't sound interesting to me. The second one was called The Proposal, and it's following Drew's best friend Carlos from the first book. And it's like he saves this woman from getting proposed to on like a big screen at a baseball game, and she says no. I don't know, that just doesn't really sound interesting to me in a romance plotline. But The Wedding Party was the one I actually was interested in because it's a hate to love romance, and it's between Alexa's best friends Theo and Maddie. I'm already a bit hesitant because Maddie and Theo are like already about to hook up for the first time, and I don't know, when it's a hate to love, I want it to drag out a bit more in the hate stage because I love getting to see that like banter, sass, and snark going back and forth, but we haven't really seen any of that. The Wedding Party actually starts in the middle of the wedding date, where Alexa and Drew kind of unintentionally meet up at this bar where it's Theo's birthday. Theo and Maddie are going back and forth about like making bets on what Alexa and Drew are gonna do, or if they're gonna get back together or whatever, yada yada yada. And that was kind of funny, but it seemed more like friends and not really enemies per se. But I'm only 2 chapters in. Who knows? Maybe they'll sleep together and then like some big drama is gonna happen and then it shoves them back apart and we have to watch them kind of work it out. Next, on the other side, I started So You've Been Publicly Shamed, and this is by Jon Ronson. As I said previously, this is my nonfiction pick and my book club pick for the month. This book is looking at the whole idea of cancel culture, and Jon Ronson actually had his Twitter used for the basis of this experiment by these 3 collegiate guys, and he didn't really consent to it. These 3 collegiate guys created a bot that kind of uses some of Jon Ronson's own tweets to fabricate its own that are similar, I assume. I didn't really understand it. The username was very similar to Jon Ronson's own username on Twitter, and he got frustrated with it because some of his like friends would actually start following that thinking it was him, and it would kind of post just these really outlandish things and sometimes kind of inappropriate ones, and he was getting frustrated with it, so he ended up talking to the 3 guys and recording it. I think he mentioned that he had a YouTube channel actually. He ended up posting the interview, and basically the 3 guys were kind of just like, get over it, like it's not that big a deal, you're on the internet, you should be expecting people to use you in this kind of way. Apparently I can't talk and put on mascara at the same time. John ended up posting the video, and most people who commented were on his side in it, and he felt a bit vindicated, and the collegiate guys just started getting like a bunch of hate mail and things like that, and one of them actually got fired. At first, John felt really good about this because they kind of put it on themselves, but then he thinks about the fact that like, well, this is also kind of toxic. So it's looking at cancel culture and that whole thing, and I think it's supposed to consider like different people who've been publicly shamed throughout history, especially since punishments used to be incredibly public, hangings and whippings and things like that. But now, rather than it being physical, it's very much more digital. I think this is going to be a really interesting book. I've only read about a chapter so far, and I'm excited to see some of the examples he uses. That's all I really have for now. Like I said, I'm going over to my boyfriend's. We don't know what we're doing yet. We might go up to get some food. So that is it for now. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Hey y'all, so it is Sunday. Josh and I ended up going with his parents this morning for brunch, so that was really fun. And then we went and played some disc golf or frisbee golf, whichever you prefer to call it. Came home, filmed a video, did some yoga, took Faith for a walk. I've had a very productive Sunday. I'm pretty proud of myself, and so now it's hitting treat myself time. However, I thought I would officially close out this vlog. I've gotten a little bit farther into So You've Been Publicly Shamed, and we got to see a different example, this time one of Jon Ronson's friends named Michael, who was responsible for getting this journalist canceled for kind of fabricating some quotes by Bob Dylan for his book. Something I thought was super interesting is Michael actually voices to Jon that if you ever are put in charge of that situation, like, you shouldn't pull the trigger, because doing so really just put so much weight and guilt on his shoulders, and he couldn't stand that. And I think that's really interesting, because usually we always get told if we see something wrong we should address it, especially online. It seems that that's very popular, and there's always the tendency for other people to kind of start piling on, but at the same time we never really think about that feeling that the initial accuser will have to go through, which is very interesting. I've never thought about it in that way. A set of dialogue I thought was really interesting was when Jon was discussing the whole Michael situation with a friend, and it went like this. It's about the terror, isn't it? The terror of what? I said. The terror of being found out. He looked as if he felt like we were taking a risk even mentioning to me the existence of the terror. He meant that we all have ticking away within us something we fear will badly harm our reputation if it got out. Maybe our secret is actually nothing horrendous. Maybe nobody would even consider it a big deal if it was exposed, but we can't take that risk, so we keep it buried. Maybe it's a work in propriety, or maybe it's just a feeling that at any moment we'll blurt something out during some important meeting that'll prove to everyone that we aren't proper professional people, or in fact, functional human beings. This was just really interesting, and I think looks at that whole idea of what it is to be famous and be put on a pedestal, and really how difficult it can be for people, especially in today's day and age where any little thing can really get magnified by other people on the internet and constantly judged and dogpiled on. I have also gotten a bit farther into the wedding party, and I am sad to say it doesn't seem to really be an enemies to lovers romance. I think this is much more of a secret relationship, but the two main characters don't want to admit it's a relationship. They have now both realized that they are going to be members in Alexa's wedding party, and so they have to hang out with each other constantly, making it all the harder for them to ignore their original hookup. They end up kind of setting a list of rules to continue sleeping together without really dating each other, and they don't want Alexa in particular to find out about this. There was even a comment from Maddie about like, but Theo, we can't stand each other. But everything we've seen thus far in the book doesn't really show that they can't stand each other. We haven't really seen a lot of snark. We've seen some sassy comments thrown back and forth, but so I've tried to change my mindset. Instead of looking at this as enemies to lovers, I'm trying to think of it as secret relationship and see if maybe I enjoy the book better because of that. However, once again, so far it seems that we are focusing a whole lot on the sexual aspect of the relationship and less so on the actual, learning about each other, sharing your feelings. That is it for now. I hope you guys had a great week, because I certainly did. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Bye.